Another important feature of our gardens is the shed that I have here. Um, one of my brothers actually built it for me. A second brother had the plan, and the other brother built it. And it was one of the first things that we did when we were creating a little oasis back here. And it's become a focal point because when you come into the yard, or you're looking at it from the house, that's what you see. And I've kind of planned things around that. But it's very, very special to me because my brother did build it, and it's very meaningful.
So what do you use the shed for?
Shed is mostly for storage. You know, we keep all of our garden tools, lawnmowers in there. We store stuff over the winter, you know, that kind of thing. And another important feature in the garden for me, and it's a favorite place in the garden, is something that I just created this year. My husband's mother passed away this past winter, and cleaning out the house, there was a church pew that had always been in their basement. And the pew was from their original church that they attended in Little Falls, Minnesota. And when they were building another church, they did, I suppose, like a fundraiser, and you could buy the pews, and she bought the pew. Well, somehow we ended up with the pew. It was an adventure with my husband getting it home, and we stripped it down and refinished it, and I've got a verse on the back of it. And it's just, I've tucked it into a corner of the beds, and you can sit back there and it's quiet. You can hear the birds and look out into the yard, and it's cool, it's in the shade, and I love that spot.
Do you share your beautiful yard with other people?
Oh, we do. I always say the garden gate is always open, and people are free to come in at any time. Always happy to give people a tour of the garden. I'd like to share. It's here to be enjoyed.
So you talk about sharing. When you divide plants, do you move them to other places, or do you share some of those too?
That's another big share for me. I think share is a big part of who I am. In the spring, we go through and do our splitting. And sure, I'll take pieces and I'll move things in different parts of the garden, but I take the greatest amount of joy in potting up those splittings and putting them out front and opening it up and saying, they're here, available, free for the taking. And I think we had about, the last time we did it, we had almost 300 plants that we shared. And it makes me feel so good, and people look forward to it. So it's a feel-good thing. It's a way of me sharing my joy and spreading it out into the world.
So I asked Bob this question, I'm going to ask you too. What's your favorite spot in your garden?
Wow, that's a tough one for me because every area has something special about it. You know, it might be that pew area right now, but you know what? It shifts over the course of the summer. So next week it'll be somewhere else. But for right now, that's my favorite spot. Another important piece of our gardens is, we kind of call this our edible area. I have, my great experiment that I started last year was blueberries. I have them in large containers, and they're protected with netting right now because the birds like to eat the blueberries. But I really had to work at the acidification of the soil because that isn't natural for this part of Minnesota, or the country really. But they're thriving and they're doing really well, so I'm quite proud of that. We have peppers, a variety of different types of peppers. We've got banana peppers, we have jalapenos, I've got miniature pumpkins, rhubarb, cucumbers for pickling. I have basil. I make lots of pesto all summer long, tomatoes, strawberries. And over here is my great experiment for the year. I'm growing moringa pumpkins. And so far, I'm really excited. I've got some good-sized pumpkins on there, and we'll see where that takes us. But you know, that gives you the idea. I mean, we love the fresh food, and I think that is so important.
Do you use some of your compost in your raised beds?
We do. I take part of the dirt out each spring because just to freshen up the soil and incorporate in the compost. And it freshens up those containers, and helps things to grow much more vigorously and healthy.
Do you take your containers in the fall?
I do not. I leave them out. I leave them out. Everything stays out. And even my ceramic pots, I've learned that if I empty those in the fall and tip them upside down, I have no problems with cracking. So that's worked out very well for us. It used to be a laborious experience to put everything into storage, but we've figured out that we don't have to do that. So I'm grateful for that. I have bird baths throughout the yard. I love to encourage nature, but those bird baths get so yucky. And I learned that if you put a piece of copper tubing into the bird bath, you don't have to clean them out as often. And it really works. I was a little bit of a skeptic at first, tried it on a couple, and I'm a believer.
I see that you use a lot of mulch here in this area too. How do you get it all here?
Well, Bob touched on the mulch earlier. We actually have a mulch party now every year because we have so much of it. We bring in 5 or 6 people that help us. They're such good people for being willing to help us. We feed them, and we have a good time. You know, we have little races. Even my little granddaughter was here this year helping with her little wheelbarrow. So we make it fun, and when it's fun, it's easy.